Hi everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios, and we are on the road. And I started filming this and realized that I had been crafting and chatting for over an hour, and that was really a long video for me, and I still have 2 elements to do. So what I decided to do is I will leave the first 4 elements that I've done, and then we'll come back and play with those. I'll show you those after I'm done. What I'm going to do instead is craft with you on 2 of them, and then I'll be able to show you the 6 completed elements when I'm done. Okay? So first off, this is mini challenge in the challenge 6.2 for Julie's June Just Junk Journal Challenge 6. And so what we have to work with are, what I did was I packed what I needed to bring with me to make this mini challenge in the challenge. It's all I have with me. And the only thing I did change was I had a map in the car. It's an atlas. It's from 2013. I've been going to replace that atlas because I still read maps when I travel. And I've been going to, excuse me, replace that map, and I have yet to do it. So I decided the easiest way for me to replace my map is to go down to the truck, bring it up, and tear it up because it needs to go. So it's gone. It's now part of my journaling stash. So we are to use 6 guest checks, and I have 2 different styles here. I have a couple from a pad that I have at home, and then these were printed. I have 4 of these actually, printed from freeprintables.net. Go there, do a search for guest check. You're going to find about 5 different colors. These are printed at 80%. They come 2 to a sheet, and they're really big. So, you know, if you want really big ones, but if you want them closer to the regular size of a guest check, print them at 80%. Now, anything we have in our kit for 6.2, we can move over to our junk journal kit as long as we do the mini challenge. So, also 6 small tags, and I have 3 different sizes here because I have a die from Sizzix that will cut 3 different size smaller tags at once. And so I have those here. And if Sizzix still has that Biggs die, I will link it down below. It was one of the first dies I ever bought from Sizzix. And I actually think I bought it from Michael's when I worked at Michael's, when they had such a nice Sizzix collection before Thinlits became a thing. And then we have 6 note papers. Well, I pulled 3 of these, and I pulled 3 of these. And I've already used a couple of these, and we're going to use a couple more of these in these last 2 pieces. 10 tickets. I have a collection of tickets. I have some from the Just Junk Journal, or the Dollar Tree Journal Challenge that I had dyed. I have, these were cut aparts from a paper pack, and then I have these 2 off of a roll. Now these count as 1 ticket because they come together. So these will be, probably one of these at least is going to become a side paper clip. So we have our 10 tickets, 24 sequins or paper scatter, and I probably just about hit my limit on these. I realize these are Easter eggs, but they're eggs, and birds and eggs go together. I'm actually doing the critters of my backyard journal that I can tuck in pictures from my backyard, from the critters that visit. And so yeah, I have birds and squirrels. And speaking of squirrels, I'm going to jump ahead to my 1 napkin. Where did I put my napkin? There he is. This is partial. This is 1 panel from a 4-panel napkin that I have, and I just absolutely love this little squirrel. He reminds me of Nuts. Nuts is a squirrel, one of 5 that visit our backyard. He's a very large alpha male squirrel, and we keep all of our bird seed in a big galvanized trash can on my back deck. It's very easy to go out the back door, fill my containers, go fill my feeders, and everybody's happy. Well, if the sunflower seeds are gone from the bird feeders, and I have like 5 or 6 that I fill, Nuts will come up on the deck, and he'll scratch and try to pull on the lid on the galvanized trash can, and then he goes and sits on the deck railing where he can look in the door window and wait for me to see if I have noticed he is out there. So yeah, this is nuts. So I'll be adding him in. 10 silk flowers, and here's a trick. This would actually count as 2 flowers if I wanted to put all apart and sell together, because it is 1 flower, but I can get double use out of it if I choose to take it apart. The same with these white ones. This is 1 flower, but if I choose to take it apart, I have 2 flowers to work with. And then I only had, this is a single flower, and then I have one of these in blue you'll see later, and most of these came from Dollar Tree. 10 silk flowers, 4 paper clips. Where did I just my paper clips? Here they are. I brought a variety to work with. I didn't know what I would be doing as I was creating, and this is the thing. I have 2 office size, 2 standard size that I almost threw on the floor, and then I have this packet of pink and green and silver ones that came in a card kit from Stampin' Up. Sorry, I'm out of frame. So there's those. So I have those to work with. The thing about when you're traveling is, sure, I only needed 4 paper clips, but I don't know what size I want to work with, so I brought several of everything. Then my napkin, a 24-inch strip of fabric, 1 to 2 inches wide. Now this is where Julie may bring out the fabric police on me, but instead of doing 1 strip of fabric that was 24 inches long, I chose 4, and I have them here somewhere. There's that one, and then there's that one, and there's a 4th one here somewhere on my desk where I've been working this morning. But I took 4 strips of fabric, 6 inches long and 1 to 2 inches wide. So I have 24 inches of fabric. I just have 4 different patterns to work with. And we are to make 6 elements with a minimum of 4 embellishments on each one. So let me show you what I've done so far. I took one of the sheets of note paper and I just played. I have my bling, there's 1. I have a stenciling, that's 2. The fabric is 3 and the flowers are 4. So I have 4 elements on here. And in a minute I'll show you how I did that stenciling, because I didn't bring a stencil with me. Then I did the guest check pocket. We always think of the guest checks as using the guest check just the way it is, as a flat surface. So yesterday as I was driving and creating my head, I had this idea to fold the ticket, or fold the guest check up and to form a pocket. And this will go at the top of my page, so I'll have a tuck spot. And then I also have, I made an embellishment with one of the large tags, some fabric, the eggs, and the ticket. So there's 4. And then I made them all 1, so I'm covered with that. I have a flower, and then when I folded this up, I covered it with part of one of the napkin panels, and I applied this with the napkin glue recipe that I get from Maddie at Spectrum Art Creations with Maddie and Madison. And I will leave a link to her Facebook group down below, because that's where you can get the recipe. It's not my recipe to share, it is Maddie's. But I absolutely love it for doing napkins. So there's number 2. Number 3 is a belly band, and I'm still waiting for this one to dry. But what I did was I took, I don't know if I have one left. I took the bottom off of here that says Memo and used it for a base. Put 2 strips of fabric across there to go the full length. Centered flowers on here and bling in the center. So there's fabric, flowers, bling, and lace. And this was left over from the 6.1 challenge that I could add back into my kit. Now it's longer than it needs to be, I'm sure, but I can always clip these pieces off and use those for tabs on the sides of pages. So, but since I don't know how long my page is, I know it's going to be at least this wide, so I've got my flowers laid in here. So I have my 4 elements on that one. I'm hoping these are drying and I'm not going to have to go back and add something else, maybe crystal effects or something, to put those jewels in there. I only brought a select amount of glues with me. I brought my Tombow, I brought my napkin glue, and then while I was at Dollar Tree yesterday, I picked up a bottle of Aleene's and a bottle of the liquid adhesive. Now, I am going to make one point on the liquid adhesive. I have purchased this from Dollar Tree before, and it's been a wonderful success. I have also purchased bottles from Dollar Tree that were hard as a rock inside. So when you get it, if you can, kind of tip your package and see if the glue will glow, or at least try to squeeze the package so you can see if it's squeezable before you put it in your cart. Number 4 is a shaker tag. I made this with the packaging that my palette knives came in that I picked up at Dollar Tree yesterday. I added a couple of my tickets at the top. This is a bird cut out from one of the notepads, and then I added some of the eggs on the inside. I added 3 or 4 of each color, except only one gold one, and a piece of my Missouri map, and that gives me a tag for my journal. And then I have this large piece, and I could create this to where it will flip on a page, so I've still got all kinds of writing space back here. Again, I used the bottom part of the memo, attached one of the flowers. I used one of the tickets or the tags to go on the in the pocket, added some bling, and then I added a strip of tear and tape down here, and then just laid a collection of the scatter eggs across the bottom. I realize this gives it kind of an Eastery effect, but birds show up in the spring, so it works. So there's that one. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have only one element left to make, so let's make that one together. I really want to incorporate nuts more on one, but I'm not sure I want to. Let's try using this one. Before we cut into something else. I also have one of those notepad thingies that I'd already pre-folded to do something with. So I think we're going to make a tuck out of this. And let's use this front cover of my atlas, and let's see if we can. I'm not going to use this table scatter anymore, so let me get it off the table. I've already knocked my glue. I have a water glass holding my glue bottles upside down, and I've already knocked it over once, and while it didn't send glue going everywhere, it did send table scattering everywhere. So let's get these picked up out of the way, because I know that I am done with the table scatter. And then I can come back in here, and I want to audition. I think I want this blue, maybe to go like this, and then that way. So let's cut it off below the iPad icon. I brought, and I'm going to cut this out because I don't want to waste that blue. I brought 3 pairs of scissors with me. I brought my bigger trimmers, my fussy cutters, and my fabric and ribbon scissors, and then I also have a larger standard size pair of scissors in my kitchen stuff to use. And I want to be able to, what if we could, we need to figure out how big to make this. So we need to cut off at the top of the railing here. I'm going to cut it wide. I can always trim off later. So we can do that. Let's cut that off. I want to get rid of this here. Now I could have my paper trimmer over here. I did bring it with me. When I was packing for stuff yesterday, I was planning to do some work on my planners, and so I have a variety of stuff, but there's just only so much room on this hotel desk. Now, one of the things that I did make sure I brought with me was my craft mat. I have a small silicone craft mat, and I keep rolled up in a paper towel tube, and it stays with my traveling craft mat. Now, what I'm going to do is I've squirted some of the napkin glue from Maggie's recipe onto my silicone mat, and then I'm just using a paintbrush, to paint it down. You get some wrinkle with this because it's a water-based glue. That's just the way it is. But you can spread it out very thin, so you get very little wrinkle. Just like this. And you can also spread it, if you know exactly what size you're working with, you can spread it on your surface too. And a lot of times that works better. And we're going to come over here. And I want to get most of this in the blue is what I'm after. I may have to do this a different way because it wants to stick to my finger. And yeah, I'd have probably had better luck if I hadn't gone that route. But, you know, you have that. But I can pull this. I also wanted to have a room card over here that I could have used as, if I can get it to turn loose on my finger, we're good. And I just ripped it. You know what, let's do that. I know roughly where that needs to go, so let's get rid of nuts. Just like that. And let's go ahead and paint our glue down. I really wanted that whole thing on there, but you know what, if we do this and put the whole napkin down here, I've also found if you paint this too thin, you're going to have problems. So be liberal with your glue. And let's pull one off of here. There we go. Let's just lay him down on here. I want to try and get most of the squirrel part up here in the blue. So he's got that blue window behind him. And use my palette knife here. And then I can see that I need more glue up here at the top. And that's fine because you don't want your glue to dry on you before you get where you need to go. So if you only need to do part of it at a time, that's fine. And then we'll flip him over. Use our palette knife, scrape him down, and see I have this down here that I don't need, but we could use that. We could make use of that. Let's take a piece of that napkin we tore off and put it down here, just like that, okay? Whoops. Guess we need to let that dry before we try ripping that off. So let's do that. Okay. Now I want to come back here and trim this off. Should have brought my glue scissors with me, but who knew I was going to be playing with sticky. Okay, now I'm not going to worry about trying to cut the rest of that off away from there yet. I want it to dry really good first. So I'm just going to use my palette knife and spread that out. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this for a pocket on the corner of a page. Let me get this glue wiped off here. Picked up a package of baby wipes yesterday, so I had baby wipes to clean up after myself. And I have a napkin here, paper towel. When I come to the hotel to spend 3 or 4 days, I make sure I have everything that I need or that I can buy easily without spending a lot of money. So I have paper towels, I have my own coffee pot. I'm good to go. Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry, and while this corner pocket is drying, I think Nuts needs a flower. What do you think? Let's give him a flower. So I'm gonna pop this. Let's see, I wanna make sure I'm in frame here. I'm gonna pop the green off of the back of here. And then I want to keep this center, so I'm just going to come in here with my scissors and I'm going to clip that back off really close to the back. Try not to cut my flower, just like that. And I want to put that down in the corner because I'm probably going to put this to the left hand side of a page. So I'm going to just dump that. I'm going to duck this back of this flower into my Aleene's. Make sure I get plenty of glue on that center. Stick it down. Okay, so there's the napkin, there's the flower. Where do we go next? Because this is going to go in the pocket. What do we suggest? Maybe we need that bird over here arguing because the squirrel stole his food. Maybe that's what we need. So let's come back in here and fussy cut our bird out really quick. You know, nothing says you have to use the note paper as it is. If all you want is the element that's there, go for it. Cut that out wide so I can come back in, fussy cut this down, and I'm gonna get rid of that limb a little bit off the end. Just like this. Now there's one thing I'm going to show you here in a minute. You don't have to have everything to do a junk journal. You can modify with what you have. One of the things we can do on an element, and I showed you over there on one of them, was that we can stencil, and that counts as one of your 4 elements. Stamping, stenciling, all count as an element. But what if you don't have a stencil? It's easy to fix. Okay, before we put the bird on here, let's come back here, and I want to tone him down a little bit. So I have my creamy caramel ink, which is retired from Stampin' Up, but it has always been my go-to ink for distressing. And I'm just gonna, I'm not really distressing, I'm just toning that white down a little bit so he will blend into the background. And then I'm going to paint him with that napkin glue since I have it out here. And let's put him down, let's set him down here in the corner saying, excuse me, that's my food you're eating. Put him up here so it looks like he's sitting in the tree. Whoops, that's going to put him, that was going to have me cutting his head off when I did the top of the tag. Okay, there's that. So we have the napkin, the bird, the flower. There's 3. We need one more thing. What about if we take a piece of this lace, because it is going to be a pocket, and come underneath there. Now see, that's already dry. That's already really dry in there, so I can safely come back and add a piece of my tear and tape. Tear and tape works great for putting lace in place, by the way. Now the only thing is when I lay this down, I'm going to have to be really careful when I burnish this tear and tape into place, because my napkin is still going to be freshly wet. So while the glue may be drying, it may not be exactly where I need it to be before I try to lifting this paper off of here. So I'm going to have to be really gentle, like that, and then come back in here, and I need to, where's my paper clip? This flower petal is going to be in my way for just a few minutes, so I'm going to take a paper clip and hold him up out of the way while I put my lace into place. Well, I thought I was going to. Let's get the, sometimes fingers don't work the way you want them to, but a tool that you might have on hand will do the trick. There we go. And then I can come back with this, trim this off, trim this off, and we have a corner tuck, just like that. How are we doing on time? 23 minutes. We are doing awesome. So that'll be a corner tuck on my page, and what I will probably do is, I really need something. I also need another, could use another element. This needs bling. It needs bling. What do you think? Green? Nah. Pink? I keep going to the gold bling. It just seems to work. Just works. But let's trim that off. I need 3 of these, so I do everything in 3s. Tradition, and you don't have to. It's just, it's an artistic thing. Your eye is drawn to odd numbers before it is drawn to even numbers. So that's why I was kind of intrigued when Julie did 4 elements, or 4 embellishments to create an element, when we traditionally think of 3. But that's okay, it works. I think I'm going to put this one, I hope that doesn't tip. Maybe I should have brought super glue with me. Where do we want to put this? Do I want to put it up here in the corner? I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to put it down here. This is getting pretty page heavy over here and it disappears, I think. I think I like it up there in that corner. So let's, and it will help camouflage this section of blue that I can't trim off. There we go. That'll work. When that dries, that'll be so pretty. Okay, I will link Maddie's Facebook group down below if I can remember. Because I won't go to Facebook while I'm not on my secure Wi-Fi. So I'll have to look on Maddie's channel and see if I can pull it from hers. I will leave you a link to, there was something else I was going to link you to. I'll have to think about it. Oh, and I am going to link you to Maddie's channel. She has her sale tomorrow. It's a lot of fun. Come in, join us. If nothing else, just look and see what's out there to play with. I really like going to Maddie's sales. I probably spend more money than I should. Okay, I know I spend more money than I should. But she gets products that we can't necessarily find just anywhere. So, okay, for our 6 elements, we have our corner tuck or possibly a flip, in which case I'll have to cover this with something. Not there yet. Then we have our shaker tag, so there's 2. We have our page, and this one could be a good flip, so there's 3. I have to be careful not to lay my glue up here. Then we have our belly band, so there's 4, and I know I'm getting down below out of camera. Then we have our top tuck with our guest check and our tag that come out of it. So there's 5, and 6 is this note sheet that could go just about anywhere. And the only thing I haven't done is done a hidden paper clip. And so you'll have to wait and see what I do with that one when I do the flip through of my June Just Junk Journal Challenge. Thanks for joining me today. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Click the notifications button so you'll know when I do upload new videos. Oh, and I was going to show you this really quick. Forgot. I was going to show you this really quick. This is just cut, wavy cut out using my scissors from the cover of the map. So if you have a scrap of cardboard, you can create a stencil. If you have a punch out something and then make a stencil. And then just go up alongside. You can create patterns just like this. And as I go down, I keep losing it off of here because I have to hold the paper too. But you can create patterns just like that using just a piece of cardboard and or cardstock of some type and your scissors. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, I think I've got a video coming up on Monday. I'm not positive because I did film 2 videos yesterday. One of them was for yesterday. Then there's this one today. Shout out Saturday tomorrow, maybe Monday. And then I'm pretty much taking next week off. Bob is back on leaves on Tuesday, and I need to spend some time getting business stuff back in order before the first of the month hits. And as soon as I have the business stuff straightened back up, I will be back. So if not before, I will definitely be back here next Friday because Julie is announcing Mini Challenge in the Challenge 6.3 today. So I'll have that one to do. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon. Creative blessings.